From Mordor to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to The Last of Us Episode 3 review. It's called A Long Time, and it goes over a long time. It's about an hour and 20-minute episode that literally goes through a blink of an eye.
It's 20 years. It goes through like 20 years.
Really fast. Really fast. And
it didn't feel fast, though.
Can we talk about the Cumberland Farms and how I felt old?
You felt old.
Like, I get it because...
Hold on. You felt old.
Yes. Yes, I did.
Were you alone in feeling old? Like, I didn't feel old, too?
Oh, no, I'm pretty sure you felt old. I'm just saying, I remember how when they used to look like that, and that's right around 2003. So...
I miss the old cumbies.
What'd you think of Ellie, confronting a trapped... clicker in what she did? Because I found that really vindictive. I was like, make sure you're not human, and then because that was kind of for me.
I think it was definitely vindictive, but I also think to some extent it was kind of revenge, because I think she feels guilty about Tess's death.
She probably feels guilty about Tess's death, her friend's death, that I think we're seeing later on in the season.
Yeah, like I think there's a lot of guilt weighing on her, and I think that it being trapped was her way of going, hey, look, I can kill one.
Yeah, and she does, but we also have like a little comedic moment right there when she goes for the Tampax. Is that what they were?
Yeah.
I thought that was funny. Might just be me. But no, it looked like Joel had a little bit of a safe cabinet at the Cumbies waiting for him. But they're off to Bill and Frank's, and right from there we jump to 2003 Bill and Frank's.
Yeah, but we don't.
You're talking about the mass grave.
I am talking because that was the best segue that they could have made to jump back in time to 2003.
Yeah, it was dark because you saw the lady's dress, and then 2003, and
yeah, you saw the baby's
there
blanket.
She is wearing it.
It was the baby's blanket.
Oh, like to find out
which just made it worse for me.
Yeah, to find out that desperate times called for desperate measures resulted in that was very dark. Like, oh, there's room at the Boston QZ. Maybe. If there's not, we're killing you.
The comparison was made in this episode of government way back when and government of then, and the reference was made to Nazis. And considering the fact that there was mass genocide, I'm kind of inclined to believe to agree with that statement.
Yeah, I would too. Martial law kicked in and they just killed everybody that couldn't fit inside the QZ.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd like to have seen, and maybe we will, I don't know. But like, even if we had took that mother and that baby and like followed them to the QZ and seen like the selection process and like fitting in the QZ and all of that stuff, like as much as it would piss me off and probably make me cry, even though according to most of my friends I'm a heartless person.
I'm not saying that now.
I really would have liked to seen it, because you hear about it, but you don't really see it.
And I really like the story they did with Bill finding Frank. And
okay, so based on what your reactions were and like what you were telling me during this, I'm guessing it's different than the video game.
It is. We don't know if they were partners. We knew they were working partners. We didn't know they were sexual partners. Um, I did make a comparison throughout this episode of it's Up. It's literally the beginning of Up. And now Susie and probably everybody watching at home cannot unsee it. Well,
No.
I thought they told a heck of a story, but the difference, and we're doing spoilers. In the game, you have about an hour and a half with Bill. Bill is alive, and then you see that Frank got bit, and then hung himself in the game. It looks like, and we don't know what he had, but I'm just gonna take a shot in the dark and say really bad MS. Or Susie, what'd you say?
I said like lupus. It's some sort of
Motor function disorder. Or
motor
like
function. So it could be like rheumatoid arthritis, like any.
But it got bad to the point where in the show, the one we just watched, Frank was like, "All right, it's enough. Today's it."
Done.
And Dr. Kevorkian literally kind of just sprinkled his magic in there and says, "All right, well, I'm gonna go out in my sleep," and you see everything happen, how they created their own little community, while Frank made it better for what Bill already had. They had strawberries, they had carrots, they were thriving on their own, and then this happens, and I thought it was very poetic that they Romeo and Julieted it.
Oh, they absolutely did. The only part that bothered me is the fact that Frank was allowed to commit suicide, but Bill was not. I mean, there was a turnaround there, and he was like, "Oh, this is really romantic," but for like a few seconds there, it was, "No, why are you doing this? This is not what I wanted."
It's literally Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah. I feel like they combined a couple of love stories in this one.
Yeah,
like, I feel like the ending is entirely Romeo and Juliet, but I don't know.
What's going on, Knox? How are you? They said, I wanted to see Bill meet Ellie. I was expecting the action-packed scenes with the clickers and Bill's traps, but they really did a heart-wrenching love story. 100%. Literally on the nose there. I also, in the video game, really liked Bill's and Ellie's back and forth. Because it was like snappy comeback after snappy comeback. So I feel like really crappy that we missed out on that, but...
Well, I mean, AJ, what was I saying through the whole episode? Like, we got to the hour mark, and I went, I realized that there's like 15 minutes of this show left, but where are Joel and Ellie?
Yeah.
Like, they need to interact with these characters before, they're no more. Like, can I have the interaction? And I didn't get that, so I feel a little deprived.
I do too, but I also really like the story they told right here.
Yeah.
And
I also like the fact that they gave us a little bit of a break from the zombies.
I think we both said that.
Yeah, I enjoy that, like, we didn't have... Yeah, there was action in there, but it was kind of like a relaxing kind of action versus, oh my god, you have to be absolutely quiet. There's zombies here. They're going to hear you. So it was definitely like, I definitely liked that aspect of it.
Yeah, I enjoyed that aspect as well. Like a little bit of a vacation off of the main story, but still giving us exposition. Because we knew from the beginning Bill was to the teeth of guns.
Yeah.
And you knew if you played the game, you were going to have to you're going to talk about the ladder into the trunk.
Okay, so in like half the stories you've ever read or experienced on TV or in the movies, it's always under a rug. The trapdoor is always under a rug or behind a bookcase. This was under a chest. And let me tell you how ingenious that is, because nobody's going to look there. Nobody.
No, and nobody did for what we know.
Nobody, like, I
thought that was perfect.
My mind was blown. I was literally sitting here going, I need one and I need a slide.
Whee!
I don't know how I'm getting back out, because clearly I just put a slide in, but I need one.
So Knox also says, I think Frank wanted to live want Bill to live his best life and keep living, but he didn't really understand how much Bill loved and needed him until he said, "I'm old, I'm satisfied, you are my purpose." And, I mentioned about a couple minutes ago it being a Romeo and Juliet story, and literally to the T right there. And as much as I wanted to see Bill meet Joel and Ellie, I think everything we needed was in that note to somebody, but probably Joel.
Well, if you've made it this far, you're probably Joel.
So Joel and Ellie stock up. They get ready for their venture.
I love how Joel knew something was wrong by the marigolds.
Yeah. Well, they knew that place to be kept up tidy and neat from the last time they were there. Well, yeah.
He did. So he knew something was wrong with the marigolds. So he went in there expecting he didn't know what.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of a little heart-wrenching. You knew that it had actually happened. And
we left the windows open so it wouldn't stink. The doors locked so don't come in. Mm-hmm. Just heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
But honestly, this by far, and this is going to sound really bad, this was my favorite episode so far.
This has been my favorite episode too. Like, being that honest, I don't get me wrong, I'm gonna love all the zombie action scenarios, but I need more stories intermixed with the zombies, because it's not just all fight to the death. It's there's love stories in there. There's survival stories, and that's really what would be awesome to see.
Wow, thank you for blowing up our chat. We really appreciate it. Knox also says, I think Joel and Bill's interaction made up for the lost of Bill and Ellie's interaction. It made me laugh when Bill kept pointing his gun at Joel. Yeah, and when we cut to the side shot, I was expecting Joel to have his gun underneath the table at Bill, just because we know Joel, and that would be 100% thing he would do. He'd pull the Han Solo, have it under the table. But
yeah, absolutely.
This has been my favorite episode, not for the lack of Joel and Ellie, but mostly for the storytelling we got. We saw Joel and Ellie for maybe 10 minutes of this whole episode. We saw what we needed to see with where they're going, 10 miles west of Boston, and where they're heading. What, Susie?
Well, I was just thinking, because as you're talking about this, because I like the fact that we started with Joel and Ellie, we ended with Joel and Ellie, and we got the beautiful love story right in the middle. But I also love the fact that Joel has come around to protecting Ellie.
Yeah, you could already see it, because in some instances you see him want to smirk with some of the things she says, and it's kind of like that in the game. I think it really happens in the game, maybe right before this, to the point where they see the giraffes. Actually, I think that might be a little bit later in the game, but I digress. But you're really starting to see where Joel is warming up, and now that they've confirmed a season 2, I'm kind of like looking. I was like, "Oh, cool, we're getting a season." Oh no. Oh no, we're getting a season 2.
Well, I mean, did you hear the news that they might not be making a Last of Us 3?
I don't know how they would.
Yeah, but they Naughty Dog had released a thing about they're stepping away from one of their other games, and then they had said that they probably will not be making a Last of Us 3. And I mean, I don't play the games, so I'm fine.
I don't know how they would. I thought it had it as diversive as the second game was. It was excellent storytelling. I think what took people out of it is the bouncing back from character to character. But other than that, I thought it was fantastic. Knox also says, I'm a sucker for people finding love and comfort during a messed up world, especially the grumpy, cynical person like Bill. So this is my favorite episode. Cool. So join the club.
Can we also just talk about how much of a difference Ron Swanson is from Bill?
Right? Right. 100%. No, I really like this episode because what's the sign? It's darkest right before the dawn, and
Something like that. Yeah, it's
and
close
you
enough.
saw Bill's mentality right up into the point where he meets Frank, literally puts Frank through the ringer to make sure he's not going to be Walking Dead in a little bit, and it felt like it happened naturally. It didn't feel forced, and that was nice.
Yeah. I was actually going to touch on that a little bit with the ringer thing because Ellie realizes that he has hot water. She's like, I'm going to go take a shower. And then you're going to go take a shower because,
that was funny. That was absolutely freaking hilarious.
I'm like, kid. But to be fair, though, I'm pretty sure that's what I tell all of the kids that I meet that I have to watch or refuse to take a shower. I'm like, you're ick, go.
You're icky, go bye-bye.
Icky, go.
So, next week we're looking forward to episode 4. At least I am. I know, Susie, you probably are now that they have the battery and they're heading towards Tommy.
Can we talk about the battery for like 2 seconds?
Okay, Miss Mechanic, daughter of a mechanic. Go for it.
Seriously, this man took the battery out of this truck, disassembled this thing, put everything in separate containers, and put everything in the fridge.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, if you didn't know, most batteries will survive longer if you refrigerate them.
Yeah, but he took it apart.
He took it apart, and I'm just like, dude. And then
this guy waited with time on his hands.
Back together and charged it, and I'm like, we need more men like that in the world, and women.
We have a
more
Paul.
both in the world.
We have a Paul. Susie, you and I have a Paul.
We do. We have a Paul.
So, with that being said, that was our Last of Us episode 3 review. Susie, what's coming out on Thursday from the Nerds Do Nerd Things channel?
Avatar 2.
Yeah, we're talking about Blue Pocahontas number 2, The Way of Water.
Way of Water. So actually, we're talking about book 1.
I'm kind of upset that I'm calling it the Blue Pocahontas now, and it is all your fault.
I'm more upset that you didn't remark on my second comment.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
Oh, we're talking about book 1.
Why must you do this? Why must you talk about the last Airbender when the last Airbender's taste in my mouth is still shitty from M. Night Shyamalama Ding Dong? I'm sorry.
We need to finish that series, by the way.
Yeah, I think we only did the first one.
We only did the first one? We only did book 1, so I think we should do book 2.
So we're talking about Avatar 2 on Thursday. So with that being said, Susie, are you ready for Avatar 2, or are you just gonna, talk about the
We're just gonna talk about AJ dancing in his seat.
Hey, I was just trying to copy the fish.
Hey, that dance still is better than the hamster dance.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't dance, people. I don't dance. I have 2 moves, and none of them are good. I don't do a lot of boogie downs. I don't do a lot of sit downs. I obey the gravity.
So you fall down?
Oh, I fall down and I hit the freaking ground hard. Like, ow! But, yeah, that was The Last of Us Episode 3 review. Hopefully we get it done next Monday, depending on how everything's going. That's a spider. That's a big spider. Okay, everybody. Bye now. I need to go remove a spider from my point of view. Bye!
I just wonder how long the spider's been there.
I just saw it, so hopefully not long. Bye.
From Mordor to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.